Hi everybody, and welcome to this session. It's great to see people, and I know that some people are on who were in the earlier session today, so if you want to give us a wave, if you were, recognise quite a few names and faces, and also use that as a way of apologising if you hear the same thing as part of this intro, because obviously not everybody's coming to each of the sessions today. But just to offer a little bit of context, as Britt said, I'm Catherine Simmons. I'm project manager for Homebaked Community Land Trust. Been working with them for 3 years now. Scary. We all sort of forget about the last year in many respects, don't we? But it was great that we've been invited to this festival from Breaking Ground, because they've been incredibly supportive to us over the last 12 months whilst developing themselves, and obviously this festival being their launch. Breaking Ground, for those who don't know, is Liverpool City Region's community-led housing hub. I'd like to give a big up to Paul Kelly for where he's got it to so far. It's brilliant. It exists to support existing, is that the Paul wave? It's there to support existing community-led housing organisations such as Homebaked CLT, but also encourage the development of future and further community-led housing organisations. And there's all sorts of different models out there. So there's a big push on, and obviously this festival has been part of that, about explaining to people what the variety of structures, options are available to them, and just inspire people to realise it's something that they can genuinely do. So again, thanks to Breaking Ground for this opportunity. In terms of Homebaked, well, they've sort of been going for 10 years now, really, starting as a seed of protest by the community, which, again, in a lot of the sessions this week, it's really come out about how social injustice was a driver for change and a driver for people to take control themselves. And I think that's very true of the story of Homebaked CLT. We started with saving the bakery, and most people will know about Homebaked Bakery and its amazing produce. Progressed to developing a flat above, a shared flat above, and we're now at the really exciting stage of redeveloping the adjacent terrace of 9 properties, converting that into 8 state-of-the-art, brilliantly designed homes. And if you get a chance, come to the next session and listen to Marianne from Airbed and all her inspiring approach. So 8 new homes, and also community business space, so expansion of the bakery space, but also creating space for new community business that has been nurtured through the Homebaked CLT journey. And by way of demonstrating support and very impressed with produce, Homegrown Collective is going to be one of our new businesses. So cheers. And I think Tom from our board has managed to find one of his bottles from Christmas. So unfortunately no pies, but we'll toast the festival with Homegrown Collective produce, and it is fantastic beer. Bunch of women making this product. It's really, really good. So that's the Homebaked story. What we thought would be really good from today was to share with you examples of organisations and projects that have really inspired the Homebaked journey over that last 10 years, which we hope will help inspire you as well. I mean, certainly the last session I thought was amazing. So we wanted to follow sort of the 4 themes that have driven us as an organisation, because we're not just about housing, we're about that whole neighbourhood regeneration, the community-led neighbourhood regeneration model, and supporting community enterprise. So looking at how we can own our high streets of the future and what support we can offer to local business. What's the role, what's our role within housing and housing provision, making it affordable, making it suitable, making it quality within neighbourhoods that wouldn't normally get that standard of housing and that level of investment. And part of that, how do we respond to climate change? And then ending up with the question of what is the role of art and creativity in the development of neighbourhoods and communities. So Britt's put something here, as in all home-baked projects, what is it? You might find yourself doing some singing, expressive movement, storytelling and design work, but yeah. So in terms of today, you know, we do need to say a special thank you to the Arts Council for funding this event, this part of Homebaked's contribution to the Breaking Ground Festival, and also obviously to Breaking Ground for hosting us. We've got people in the background in every session supporting. So we've got Laura, I think it is, doing the tech today. Thanks, Laura. Cheers for that. And we've got Britt leading on today's session. And as she said, if we keep putting stuff in the chat, people keep an eye on it. Is it 3 asterisks if you've got questions, so it's easy to pull things out. And as there are breaks within the presentations, we can pull questions out as we go through. So I think without any further ado, I'll sit back and enjoy my homegrown collective beer and hand over to Britt. Cheers.
I cannot believe that, drinking beer in the afternoon. This is
Listen, it's a beautiful sunny day.
I love it.
In the normal world, we would be going, this is about the first time we could dash out and enjoy the sun in a beer garden, but we can't, so.
Thanks so much for enjoying being here, even though it's so sunny out. So yes, so if you want to talk in the chat and say hello in the chat, and then if you have a question, you just put it in the chat and we put it towards our speakers and towards the conversation later. If you put 3 little asterisks next to it, they're called asterisks, I don't know, like little stars next to it, we know that you are happy to speak out loud, and we might ask you to just ask the question yourself. And any other situation, try and keep yourself muted, just so that we can really hear from our speakers. And I just really briefly wanted to say, you know, this particular theme, and where just go a tiny bit deeper into where that is coming from. So I nicked and adjusted the title from actually a book called Talking Houses, which some of you know. It was written, it's a series of presentations, a series of talks really, by Colin Ward, who really inspired the co-op movements in the 70s, but also the squatter movements, for example. He coined himself a anarchist planner. So yeah, it's a really interesting combination, I think. And he was particularly speaking a lot about what at the time was really quite radical, which is people to have a say or control over the place they live. And sometimes I think maybe that is still a bit radical today. So I think we need to continue talking about this as we go on. And I changed it to Talking Homes because I think that there is something really important about that word. It is much more personal and intimate to think about a home. We often do that at Homebaked. When we start talking about things, we might start talking about homes, and that's also because it's the place we are all experts in some form, and we know that we are experts in. And so when we do participatory processes, we start with talking about the home, and because we all know that we know, and it gives us confidence to keep on talking wider and wider and wider. And I also think it's important, outwardly speaking, because, you know, it's even harder to say to demolish homes than it is to demolish houses, or to evict homes, than it is to evict houses. And I also would say that sometimes it's quite hard to talk about homes, and those are probably the moments that we have experienced at Homebaked early on, but that many other people experience, and that is in the cases where people lose their homes or have lost them or feel threatened or don't have one. Yeah. So, and then I was thinking about how home also encompasses, of course, a bigger scale. So places that we consider home together. So this is at neighborhood scale or city scale. And these are places that we have in common, or maybe goods and services that we have in common. I am really delighted to have two women here who are going to speak today about their two pieces of work that they're doing. So we have Gala Pin from Barcelona and comù here, who I would say from me took that question of the right to housing or right to home to start sort of shaping many of these kind of commons across Barcelona. And Gala, tell me if that's correct. And then we have Jess, who comes from Hastings Community Land Trust, talking about her experience of holding these kind of homes, common homes and individual homes in common ownership, and what can develop from that. We were also going to have, you should see the other guy from London, who are a great theatre company who do fantastic work from within the housing activist movement. And they both fell ill, which is really sad. They have received lots of words from you to write a protest song, and they're still going to write that song, and we're going to find a way of getting that song to you.